What up? Seth Miranda here. This is Adorama Rewind. Some pretty interesting talking points happening on this week. Some stuff about privacy, image rights, some fun gear, and other stuff. I'm just going to go right into it, and we're going to have a good time. Right? I don't know. Let's find out. All right, so Ariana Grande is sued for posting photos of herself on Instagram. Yeah, so let's go through this. These are the two photos that were posted, and they were shot by a photographer named Robert Barbera. And what's happening here is Ariana Grande basically said a couple months ago, she's putting up a contract that says, if you want to shoot in my concerts, we own all the copyright. Ariana Grande, her corporation, whatever you want to call it. However, back in August of 2018, these photos were posted on her Instagram, and she's just getting a lot of image rights heat, so that's why I mentioned the thing before. But what's basically happening is that in the South District of New York District Court, Robert Barbera went in and said, hey man, she didn't have permission to use these photos. I want $25,000 for each one of these images. Apparently they were seen by 154 plus million followers with 3 million likes per image. That's a lot of distribution, right? 155 million followers, is this right? Whoa, yeah, okay. I'm doing something wrong in life. So $25,000 per photo. There was 2 images that she used, so that's 50 G's. It's in the courts. We'll see what happens with this. What I need to know is, where did she snipe the photos from? Were they up there somewhere in public domain? Were they bought and then placed somewhere? Where were they published that she had access to them to begin with? It's not like she went up to him and grabbed them out of his camera. So they're just paparazzi shots, but if she's benefiting from them and they are being distributed, I gotta learn my pronunciation, to such a wide audience of 155 million people, that's enormous circulation. And you know, you can argue that the photographer deserves something out of that. In more imaging rights news type stuff, Prince Harry gets damage an apology from a photo agency for helicopter photos. So that's right, Splash News has apologized and agreed to pay substantial damages to Prince Harry after they flew a helicopter over his retreat home and shot into his living room and bedroom. Yeah, this is not cool. So you do not have the right from a public space to shoot into a private space. You just don't have that. I mean, in America here, I don't know about the UK or wherever, but typically that's the rule, is that it's public space is public space, but once you're infiltrating private space and grabbing images from it, that's off limits, and you went after the Prince, so good luck with that. They clearly know they did something wrong. They went right into an apology, right into ready to pay for damages and stuff like that, so take that for what it is. Let's get into some gear talk now. First, 1 terabyte micro SD card. Oh, I gotta learn how to pronunciate. So yeah, 1 terabyte UHS 3. So that's pretty crazy. So if they're saying that if you're someone that wants high-res photos or 4K video on a single micro SD card, like the DJI Osmo uses that or something like that, or a GoPro or something, you have the ability to do it. However, this card does come at a price of $450, which is the price of the camera you're probably shooting it in, if not more. Also, you can argue, do you need all your stuff on one card, which has always been an argument out there, is do you want to put all your eggs in one basket? If you lose this tiny card, you could inhale that card by accident. Micro SDs are so small. But flip side of that, whoa, what amazing times we live in to have such amazing technology. I mean, I remember flash drives being huge, and they were only like 128 megabytes, and now we have 1 terabyte on something smaller than a contact lens, which is kind of bananas. Hey, speaking of contact lenses, the Nikon Z6 and Z7 firmware with eye autofocus is out. I don't know what contact lens has to do with that. I guess eyeballs. I don't know. Deal with it. So yeah, we've been waiting for it. It's finally out, but it's not just eye autofocus. So what they're saying is you have improved low light performance, improved autofocus system for both photo and video, responsive exposure when shooting a dynamic subject, improvement in the menu system and text, and some bugs that have been fixed. I haven't tested out the eye autofocus myself personally. I do have to update the Z series that I have on loan from Nikon right now. I will give it a shot. I'll let you guys know. I don't usually use eye autofocus that much. I'm an old school guy. I need one autofocus point. I focus, recompose, and I'm out. But hey, this is pretty awesome, and I think the low light performance is really great, especially for the Z6, because it's really great in low light. It's a lower res sensor at 24 megapixels opposed to the 47 megapixel of the Z7, which gives you less noise, and the dynamic range is great. So this is pretty awesome, and there's only more to come. Nikon is saying that the CF Express firmware is coming, and some other things that they're going to throw into these cameras. Remember, we're buying the hardware now, and the firmware is just updating these cameras. I've been saying that for almost every episode of Rewind, I feel, whenever I hear about a firmware update. Sony is notorious for putting out tons of firmware updates. Fuji once put out a firmware update that all of a sudden gave their cameras 4K video, which was crazy. So you really look at the hardware when you're buying something, and they can always get into the firmware for you later on, or if there's issues, and they definitely hear what you're saying out there. So hey, congratulations to Nikon shooters out there. However, Ricoh is saying, on the complete opposite end of things, that they're saying, hey, mirrorless is cool, but we think people are going to return to DSLR in a year or two. Yeah, so, whoa, big statement, right? They said that each system has their benefits, but the mirrorless camera is a convenient tool and all that, so that you can see what you're shooting with the exposure right in there. But they're saying pretty much right here, they're going, people can see the beautiful image through the optical viewfinder and then think how they want to create their pictures. For example, exposure level settings, white balance, ISO, and then can imagine how they get what they want. That's kind of interesting, right? I can feel your comments coming like, yeah, you can see that in real time in a mirrorless. What I think they're saying here is it's kind of like return to vinyl, right? A lot of people are going back to film, so maybe the return to DSLR or optical viewfinders is going to be the next return to film that we see, right? Like, does anyone understand what I'm saying there? Is that, we go far with technology, and then there's some people that want to go back to where we were a little bit. I think this is a tough one. I'm an optical viewfinder guy. I still use a Nikon D850, which is pretty up to date with the cameras, but still optical, and I love it. And one of the things, like my colleague Daniel Norton always says, one of the things he loves about optical is before he even turns on the camera, he just sets things up and looks through it. He's seeing through the glass before he even turns the camera on. With mirrorless, you kind of are always running that camera and having to look through it, and then you have to remember to put it in real-time exposure, or or be able to use it so that it amplifies the light so you can actually see through it. Especially if you're a strobe shooter like I am, you don't see the light that you're shooting with, you see the light in the space. So it kind of messes my head up a little bit in that regard. But when I'm on location and I'm mixing ambient with strobe, mirrorless is great. But I'm totally fine with optical. I've been using it my whole career. So I don't know, if you're someone that was raised on mirrorless, this is something to think about too, right? So if you never even had the experience of shooting with an optical viewfinder, and you've always been nailed to that EVF and watching your exposure and having that habit, I understand never going to optical. Listen, there's shooters out there on all spectrums and all genres that just, man, I just thought this was such an interesting statement. Let me know down below if you're still an optical person, if you're still like holding on to that. Let me know if you're someone that's just not into mirrorless, even though that every brand is pushing it pretty hard. And speaking of that, Panasonic S1R wins Camera of the Year in Japan. Yeah, so check this out. The Camera Journal Press Club, which is a group of 10 magazines, website publications, and they specialize in the Camera Grand Prix, which is the best camera equipment released over the fiscal year, named the Panasonic Lumix S1R as Camera of the Year. Yeah, this is kind of nuts, right? I mentioned last week that DxO gave them top on the sensor for full frame, just under medium format. A lot of people commented like, no way, what, are you kidding me? And it's like, yeah, it's actually getting accolades out there, guys. 47.3 megapixels on that sensor. It's got great dynamic range. Lens of the year, they gave it to Sony FE 24mm 1.4 G Master, and they gave the Olympus OMD E-M1X the Readers Award, and the Editors Award went to the Ricoh GR3, which we've been hearing a lot of great things about. Kai, who is an affiliate of ours, did a great video on the GR series. If you want to go check his channel out, Kai W. Whoa, really cool to see some brands that are not usually talked about getting to top levels here, or at least being recognized by certain groups. Maybe these systems aren't for you. Maybe you're not a fan of Lumix or Ricoh or something like that, but there are people that are, and they have been putting out cameras just like any other brand, and here we go with what people are receiving them as. So, you know, it's kind of interesting when you grab a system that you're not used to. I know it's been really weird for me when I pick up someone else's camera and it's completely backwards from mine, but you do see the benefits from one system over another. So, or maybe you see where it falls short. It's really about finding the system that works for you, your workflow, the style of shooting you do, what you're trying to get out of your images, and what you can just rely on, right? Let's dial back the technology a little bit and talk about how the Fullblogger talked about the Mint Instacon RF70. It gets updated with an auto and manual setting now. So yeah, this is an instant camera. It uses the Instax wide film, I believe, and it was manual before, but now they have it with an auto setting, which is pretty cool. This is a sleek, sexy camera. It looks like a lot of fun. I would definitely like to get my hands on one of these, and I do enjoy Instax a lot. So it's a foldable body, so it can really compact down. You're looking at all the specs here as far as what you can do with it and what's in there. We're talking about f5.6 to f22. It's got 3 elements in the lens. Largest aperture is f2.4 apparently, but the focusing distance is 29.5 inches is the minimum focusing distance, which is not bad for an instant camera. Uses 2 AA batteries, built-in electronic flash with auto brightness balance. Comes with a 5-year warranty, and it's just pretty cute. Look at that. Mint's been doing some interesting stuff, so if you're someone that's interested in analog, keep an eye on this company. I definitely always keep hearing about little gadgets and doodads they come out with. They came out with something specific for the SX70s and the little add-on to already existing vintage cameras and stuff like that. And this is pretty cool. I think I'm going to try to grab myself one of these. I know Daniel Norton's watching this right now, and he's going to text me as soon as he watches, going, "We got to get that." Watch, it's going to happen. So I just wanted to clue you guys into this also. Adorama is doing Inspire. We did it last year. Inspire is like our big WrestleMania, right? So here we go. June 18th to 20th, Inspire. Start signing up for events. Vanessa Joy right here doing a workshop for weddings and stuff like that. We have a ton of stuff going on. A lot of big names. Let me minus this out so you guys can see it better. A lot of big names are going to be... Let me just switch back. A lot of big names. Nigel Barker, Emily Soto, Gavin Hoey will be in town. I'll be here. Daniel Norton will be here. And returning to Adorama, the great Joe McNally, who I will have the pleasure of doing some demos with in the Photo Bay area. So come hang out, come shoot. I'll be doing a live stage demo, shooting special effects on stage, and me and Daniel Norton will be doing a photo walk together, doing lighting on location. It's right down the block from Adorama at the Altman Building if you're New York City local. If you're not, pay attention to our social. We'll try to get as much stuff as we can on up there. There is stuff happening like every hour, every day, tons of stuff happening. So go to adorama.com/inspire and start signing up for stuff, or just see what's happening. And if you're planning a trip to New York, that might be a good time to come through. Just saying. Just saying. Speaking of Vanessa Joy doing that wedding workshop there, I don't know if you guys have been watching, but she has her own series on our channel, and here she is showing you how she shoots at receptions. So you can just check out her what she goes through as far as setups go, and her go-tos, and what she looks for, and how she works fast, and what she doesn't like. She'll show you right there, shot out of camera, and fix it right there for you, and let her mistakes fly as they may, and then go back and show you how she fixes them on the fly in the field. So that's pretty cool. If you're a wedding shooter, she's definitely the one to watch. If you want to know about marketing, she has a whole playlist called Breathe Your Passion on her channel, and you can learn some things about how to market yourself and how to clean up your business game a little bit. She definitely helped mine out. I am the worst at business when it comes to shooting. I'm pretty much like, what do you want to shoot? How much money do you have? And I go. Yeah. Also, I wanted to clue you guys into this series from our My Travel Diary from Bhutan. It is a gorgeous, beautiful series from the guys who brought you TTL on our channel, following Ms. Hatton around. And it's really just a really beautiful series. I urge you to go take a look at it and check it out, especially if you're a travel photographer. It's a really great watch. And it's also just, if you just like looking at beautiful scenery and well done shots, its cinematography is fantastic by Sal Dahlia, who's the man. Also, DJI released the Osmo Action Cam, which is their shot at GoPro, right? So we had Andy 2 take it out for a spin really quick, and he gave us his thoughts on it, strapped it onto a bike, got some BMX riding going on there, and he shows you the stabilization, which is bananas on this thing. Goes through the functionality of it, what he likes, what he's excited about in there, and you can put ND filters on it, all sorts of stuff, and it's pretty awesome. So I urge you to check that out if you're in the action cam market or you're a vlogger. Andy too definitely knows how to create legit content out there, and he's a super nice guy, very talented gentleman. Just check out that video if you're interested in the DJI. And I'm gonna pull this all together with, I shot with the Profoto A1X right here at D'Angelico here in New York. They gave it to me for about an hour and handed me a Sony because it's now available for Sony. And I used it with the Kinect. So here's me with Casey McSherry, and we're on location just making some shots happen in this crazy space going on right there. So you can check that out on the channel. It's a super fast video, like 2 minutes. And I know like new product videos get a lot of like in the comments, and it is what it is, but I had a lot of fun using that light. It's definitely an evolution to the A1, which I'm a fan of. I personally bought a whole set of them for my own kit. And having said that, I will be going live today. So if you're watching this now on a Monday, at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'll be going live right here in the Adorama event space on both Adorama's Facebook and YouTube using the A1X. It's basically just a speedlight demo, portraits with speedlights. We use multiple speedlights, A1s, mixed with A1Xs, and show you how to put them together. And what I like about them personally, I'm not doing a commercial. No one's put me up for this. I just made a choice with that gear, and it's pretty much an honor to be a handful of people to be handed a pre-production piece of gear and say, hey, go use it and tell us what you think and show it its capabilities. So I'm pretty psyched about that. Please join me here live, 5 p.m. Eastern today. If you're watching this after the fact, you can find that live stream on Adorama TV here or Adorama's Facebook page. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Question of the week. I want to know what's been your go-to setup. What's been your fail-safe, no matter what, backs against the wall? What's the gear you pull out of your bag to get that job done? Are you somebody that's like, hey, I keep buying fancy stuff, but I keep going back to this Vivitar 285 flash, or you keep getting a mirrorless system, but no, I can only trust my, my 1DX Mark II or my Canon 5D and or whatever. Like, is there some sort of legit mainstay in the game for you that you always go to and know you never have a problem with, or don't have to learn, or you just feel confident with, no matter whatever else you pick up and add to your kit? I know for me, I just keep on pulling out that same set of lenses. No matter how many lenses I pick up, I keep going to my 24-120, which people give me a lot of flack for, my 105 micro, and my 14-2.8D drive, which is one of the oldest lenses I have in my kit that's modern. It's just what I know, and it's what I know how to work, and I speak in sync with it. So there's got to be gear that people out there feel the same way about. I'm just curious because I really like hearing what people really rest their confidence in. And some of us, it's more than just confidence. It's your reputation, your career, and sometimes getting that next job. All right, guys, I hope to see you guys later on the live. If not, write me in the comments down below. I would love to talk about some of this stuff. Are you someone that's interested in a 1 terabyte micro SD? I'm curious who that market is. What about Mint cameras? Have any of you picked up any of the Mint accessories for the Polaroid vintage cameras out there? Or do you have this Instacon camera? What do you think about Prince Harry getting money from this news agency? Does he even need the money? I don't know. Hopefully he gets the money and just donates it to a charity or something. I'm not sure. Ariana Grande, where do we rest on that? Do you think that this photographer deserves money out of it? Do you think that she should stop hawking after photographers, trying to get their rights, and now just use their images because she just feels like it? I don't know. 155 million followers. That is a lot of distribution. I'm going to keep saying that. All right, guys. I hope to talk to you down in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Peace.